Good day, teamers. Welcome back to another episode of BT16's on the way, and our good friends over at Bandai giving us stuff to talk about in English. Bring on BT21, because I look forward to seeing what they do with reveals, because it's going to be a case that we're going to get Japanese reveals in the morning for me, and then English reveals in the evening for me, or we're going to get like Japan going like, oh, here's something from like green, and then we're going to get America going like, here's something from purple, and it's like, damn, man, between the two, we're going to get this set, like, super early, yo. But we shall see. First of all, though, we got our lovely Poromon over here, who is a lovely, wonderful little in training that's just a fluff ball of doom. And once again, in a fantastic-looking support area here, which... don't really know if I want to have my birds of prey in the desert, maybe more in the jungle, but I understand that in this case, we are going for the red line, and what says red more than a harsh desert environment? So... Poromon, it's a baby, it's a level 2. When attacking, once per turn, if this Digimon has 2 or more colours, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2000 DP or less. Now, you'll notice that this deck is very DP aggressive in terms of reducing. So this effect will happen more often than you think it should. And I'm going to be honest with you now, it happens too often, because that's what this line does. It leans very heavy into red aggression as well as yellow DP reduction lines, making for essentially a slightly newer version of like Shine, but that's where we go from here, and I quite like it. I don't think it's for everyone's tastes. It's kind of a cool looking deck as well, and we'll go forward to seeing like what's going on here. Also, if you want to know what happened here, 3-year-old decided it was fun to headbutt daddy with his teeth. So let's go into the next card. Going for ourselves a Hawkmon. Hawkmon's pretty cool in this deck. If you may not know, it is the actual evolution of Poromon, so it gets to go into Poromon for the cost of 0, but then it also goes above a green and a yellow for a cost of 1. If you've seen some gameplay in the past, some people do like to have the Aquilamon that costs 1 to digivolve on top of a Poromon, which can cost for 0. They want to spend the memory just to give your opponent 1. It can slow down your opponent's turn, making your turn a bit more effective in the following turn. There's some like gameplay like loops and like brick-a-bracker going backwards and forwards, but for the most part, you'll be using the 0 cost Poromon effect here. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your other Digimon is played, or digivolves, if it has a free trait or is yellow, gain 1 memory. Pretty good this deck, obviously, because you're a red, green, yellow, purple deck, so obviously there's always going to be a case of you hitting a colour that you need to, or played, and when digivolving, obviously. And then here, spend one of your opponent's Digimon. Actually not a terrible when attacking effect to have in a deck like this, and might also see some play down the line in the ST18 deck, the green deck that we just seen earlier last week, which we'll go over ourselves probably like over the weekend. But I like this card, and the deck itself is kind of weird in terms of like birds you want to have, because it doesn't really synergize too well with the bird up deck. So yeah, you're getting something going on here, and I quite like it, and I think a lot of people are actually going to like it either way. And Hawkmon is just kind of a cool Digimon. Next here, we do have access to Salamon here. That is a rare, so for you out there who like to bling out their decks, no worries, we have a Salamon. Start of your main phase, and on play, if it's your turn, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a level 4 Digimon card with the Holy Beast or free trait in the trash, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Like, it's a good trait. Don't question it too much. This does let you digivolve up into our good friend Gatomon, if I remember correctly, as well as some of the armor forms, and then some of the level 4s obviously are free traded as well. So it's pretty good. Also, start main phase, so you can move it out, or you can just play it for the cost of 3, and then go up into your cat that you need. I think we get a cat in EX6, maybe, that I think is the one that you use now in Masties. Makes things go quicker, but you do play this one in the upcoming Mastie reboot deck anyway. Good card, pretty good, and then all of your opponent's Digimon, security Digimon, get minus 3000 DP, which is pretty good because Valkyrie, if I remember correctly, is 11k. I can't remember if it gets any DP increases. We're obviously going to go through the deck now, so we'll see if it does. But because it doesn't seem to get in DP increases, it's basically a 14k Digimon swing into security, so it's pretty good, pretty safe. So yeah, Salamon ticks all the right boxes here. It's also a yellow and a purple, which means it would get the effect from the Hawkmon. So yeah, not too bad. I think it's good. Obviously you play it in this deck, but I think it's a pretty good card. Next we have Aquilamon. It's got jamming. To be fair, jamming is a very good skill. I think a lot of people do sort of forget how good jamming is. Now that Pokemon's back at 1. But yeah, it can Digivolve from a yellow or a green for a cost of 3, or a Hawkmon for a cost of 2. Jamming is very good, and then when on play or when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, which, as I said, is going to be something that's going to happen quite a bit in this deck. This does actually remove some of the floodgates. I say some of the, I think it removes all the floodgates that aren't like Megas or level 7s. So, yeah, pretty good. I quite like this. I do think it's very good. Obviously, it's a 4 cost, which covers a lot of the other level 4s at cost 4 in this set. And then when attacking once per turn, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, this is pretty good. I don't think you actually could play it outside of this deck at all. I think it is essentially just for this deck, and if we maybe get a Hawkmon deck down the line. But as far as I'm aware, you don't play this outside of this going forwards. I've not heard anything about it in the ST18 deck. Obviously, that's not fully out until this Friday, so this goes out on Thursday. And in Japan, the green deck will be available on the Friday. If they did midnight releases, this video will be going live, like, I don't know, like an hour or two before it's midnight in Japan. That being said, yeah, I like it. I think it's good for this deck. It's rounds out the deck a bit more. Obviously, you kind of want the extra Digimon. That's the 2 of. So you've got the Gatomon. It's going to be probably like maybe the 2 of. And then you might run the old Gatomon that you use in the ST decks to find your yellow and purple pieces, because yeah, it's a pretty good searcher. Obviously, half your deck isn't yellow or purple, but it is some of it is yellow, especially some of the good cards. So yeah, Aquilamon, like it's decent. He works on the deck, like it's for the deck. And now we have the Gatomon, cost 4 to play, or Digivolve for a cost of 3 from a purple or a red source. Digivolving for Salamon for a cost of 2, has barrier, which again isn't really a great skill. I think we all agree with this statement. But then on play, when Digivolving by trashing 1 card in your hand, you can turn it to 1 level 6 or lower 2 color Digimon card that's red or purple from your trash to your hand, which generally in this deck is going to be any of your birds and then any of the cat side, because they're all yellow and purple, and then the bird side's all red and green, and then you get to the top end and it's red and yellow, so you're still triggering the colouring scheme there. In Mastimon, obviously, you're looking for it to pick up Masty, you're looking for it to pick up Lady Devies, so that's why if you look at a lot of the decks, Lady Devies are like 4, and then they're running like 6 to 8 Lady Angie-Womans rather, and that's why you are seeing like the weird like ratios, because it's like, yeah, if I just play this, I can get something back. So, not too worried. And then all of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 3000 DP again. Again, having such a low DP range on the Ace obviously makes it a bit more of a worrying thing. For crashing into an option card, you can't really help that, but being essentially 17k into a body is obviously really good. You don't need jamming when you're just punching over everything else. But yeah, Gatomon's very good. Like, we see a little bit of play coming up in the Masty deck more than anything else. And obviously, if you want to play this deck currently, it's here and it's fairly good. It's also uncommon, so if you do want to have it in shiny foil, you do need to get it in the lovely pre-release styly. So for those of you who live over here in England, and well, the English meta, have fun with your shiny cards. If you live over in Japan, I hope you guys start getting pre-releases like we have pre-releases when it comes to BT21, and I hope we don't lose them, because I love having a pre-release, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well. Now, Silphymon. A lot of people, you probably remember the old Silphymon. We don't talk about the old Silphymon. To be fair, I think this is the third Silphymon we've had. We had one from like BT3, which was it was a card. Then we had the BT8 card, which I believe was okay-ish. Nothing really to write home about. And now obviously we have the new one, which is like all the other BT16 DNAs, is very good, even if it's just for petition alone. But for us, it's a case that, you know, it does come from having a red and yellow Digimon level 4, for a cost of 0. In this case, it would be Gatomon and Aquila. Although, I'm trying to think if there's any of the Digimon you might want to run in this deck that isn't what they currently are. I think there might be one that you want to run that might come in EX6 or BT17. But I'm not sure if there's another one of the DNAs in this deck. But we can go over it when we go through the cards, and we can mention it then. When Digivolving, if it's a DNA Digivolution, so specifically just for DNA, do not spend 4 basically. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7000 DP until the end of turn, and this is why the DP reduction clause on the Poromon that says, well, if you're 2000 DP or less, we can ping your face, is why you do it. And then when digivolving when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DPS. And then also for the fact that this gives something 7, it's 11, that goes down to 4, and then because you digivolved, you can then pop it because it's a 4. Partition will take effect before you can kill the stack. So yeah, so if you kill something with DP reduction and it's got partition, it will just spit out its bodies. So you tried. I like the Silphymon. I know a lot of people looked at the engine and actually thought it was kind of a weird thing to do. I like it, personally speaking, and it might see some play. I think there's a lot of good decks in this format, as a lot of people and myself have already said, like, this seems to be one of those formats where we could be seeing like a renaissance of people come back to the game. They're really looking forward to it. BT15 was a breath of fresh air compared to what we've been seeing in the last like couple of formats, where it's been like 2 or 3 top decks and then a few smaller decks that like chewing at its ankles. Whereas like BT17, it's like, what, we got Newman, we got Yellow Vaccine, we got Marcus, we got Mirage is still here. Hello, Mirage. Shine. We've got Red Hybrid that's still doing well. Levi is still doing very well. Gatomon won something for a change, which Henny, look, man, you got to try and do the repeat there, and then we got to try and see if we can get you a three-peat, because you're like Alice Hope, Henny. But no, I think this deck is pretty cool, and I think if you can find some other bits to like slot into the missing pieces, you'll do well. I think the promo Hawkmon is very good in this deck, and the issue you have got is that the promo Hawkmon is looking to like get bought out soon, because I think last time I checked on it, there was like 5 copies left on card market. I think they were like £17 each. So those premium Bandai reprints couldn't come quick enough, if you ask me. But they'll be here at the end of June. So for those of you who are a little bit like me, stuck in a little bit of a limbo, waiting for the cards to come back, we can be seeing ourselves on a little bit of a misfortune currently. But let's move on to the next card in this list, which will be our lovely friend Valkyrie Ace. So Valkyrie Ace is one of the new Ace cards. I think this is only the second Valkyrimon we've got. I think there was a Valkyrimon from like BT3 was the first time we had them, and it's not a good card from what I can remember. But digivolves from a 5 with yellow or red in its colouring for a cost of 4, which is pretty good. It also has non-play of 7, as a lot of the aces do have reduced cost, but obviously you then get the issue of having to overflow if you get beaten up. So, you know, it does round out the costing to be 11, so it's fair in that sense. Hand counter blast digivolution, so obviously if your opponent decides to swing at you, you can then digivolve into this, and your opponent just goes, nuts. Because, yeah, that's what happens. On play when digivolving, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP for the turn. It's essentially a mini Shine, for those of you who obviously know what Shine Room Mode does. When you digivolve, you get the minus 5 DP on everything. On your opponent's Digimon, so this is essentially the same thing as Ice Wall, where it's affecting your opponent, not the monsters. And so obviously when you move things out of the breeding area, hey, it's just dead. So that's not always great. And obviously it's on play when digivolving. So there is probably times, like maybe into Numon, for instance, where you just want to throw it down the field and you just wipe out the whole board, and then they try and bring things back and it just dies again. All turns will turn when a card is removed from a security stack. Delete one of your opponent's 8000 DP or lower Digimon. If this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gains security stack +1 until the end of your turn. I have a funny feeling that this stacks twice, right? So you blast digivolve on your opponent's turn, you delete something of theirs, they do what they ever can do, they swing into your security, a security card is removed, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. If this can't delete, so you try to delete something with your effect, nothing gets deleted, and then you just get to gain security attack +1, and then it's your turn, and then you swing into their security, right? So you hit the first card in security. You can't delete anything of your opponent, so you get to swing 2 more times. So yeah, I can see Ace being quite a quick deck, to be fair, if you can get to it. But obviously you have to go through a DNA source, and then you have to go into Ace, either on your opponent's turn or your own turn. Obviously if your opponent's turn is quicker. But yeah, I can see this being, like I said, could be a good deck. We do have 2 more cards to go through though, but I like Valkyrie Ace, and it might get slept on because it has decks in the meta that it's going to be good into, and it's not just one of these decks. It's just like it's like not an auto win, obviously, but it's good. Like I want to see someone play this, and I feel like someone who's good at playing the game can probably take this deck to the max. And obviously, because it's a yellow as well, you can play Shine in this, so you can go minus 5,000, Digivolve into Shine, minus 5,000, swing with Shine, minus 5,000. Anything that has 15,000 less DP just dies the second it touches your opponent's board. So your opponent's just like, I can't play anything for a turn, and then he gets to go back to your turn. It's like, yeah, sweet, I get to play my game again. So, yeah. Maybe, my president. Obviously, you get your opponent 4 memory, but I mean, sometimes giving them a whole board worth for a cost of 4 is pretty darn good, as well as the cost of Shine. But we don't talk about that. So yeah, we're gonna go talk about the trainer card now. So we have ourselves the Yolei Kari card, looking nice in their winter drip. To be fair, I could have probably done with a nice card like this during winter. It was freezing over here in the UK. Start of your main phase, you may play a 1 Hawkmon or Salamon from the hand without paying the cost. At the next end of your opponent's turn, return it to the hand again. I'm pretty sure this is the whole thing that we talked about the other day, where if you can get it up into the level 5 through DNA Digivolving, it forgets it's a Digimon, or it forgets it's one of these Digimon and doesn't get to return to the hand. Although I feel like if you Digivolve up into the level 4, it might remember what it is and it might basically delete the level 4 and return the Hawkmon to hand, or return the level 4 to hand. Again, I need to figure out where this stops being a return this card to hand situation. Your turn. When one of your Digimon Digivolves into a red or yellow Digimon, by summoning this tamer, gain 1 memory. If DNA Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. And again, this is the whole going up the line, deleting things, giving something 3,000 here, giving something from Silphymon is 7,000, so it gives something minus 10,000. If there are 12,000 Digimon, you swing with it. You got the Poro in stack, it deletes it basically. Again, I think it's going to be a very aggressive deck, and I do look forward to seeing what people are going to play. But people aren't going to be happy with this deck, I don't feel like. I also feel like you could probably run the Marcus Memory Setter to make things work in this deck. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. There's things you can do in here, right? There's things you can do in here. Let's not try and make myself upset when I have to play against this deck in a couple of weeks' time. And then lastly, the Beastly Storm Dance of Affection. Bit of a weird name, but you go girls. Main, you may play 1 Aquilamon or 1 Gatomon from your hand without paying the cost. Then, 2 of your Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card in your hand. The Digimon this affects DNA Digivolved may gain Secret Attack +1 for the turn and attack a player. Like, look man, I'm not even complaining. The fact that you get to spend 3, technically go into your opponent's turn, DNA, get to swing, and then do 2 hits of damage, possibly, fairly good. Also, it's uncommon, so it can be a pre-release shiny. Security, you may play 1 Hawkmon or Salamon from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then add this card to your hand. Like, really, really good. No questions asked. Just a solid card. If you can fit it in the deck is the question. But unlike Imperial, I feel like you're going to have space in this deck for at least like 2 of these. So, probably isn't as big an issue. But you probably are going to look at maybe running the Shine option cards and like the Rise Greymon option cards in this deck because it is a yellow-red deck. And it just makes sense to basically make full use of the best red-yellow option cards that you can. So, all in all, fairly good, interesting start for a deck. I think you could get some support down the line, like in set BT24 maybe, where we come back to this again, because it's basically every 8 set, shall we say, we get one of these. I would like to see more for this in the future. Having a second Sylph would be really cool, like a good second Sylph. You can kind of get away with like having like just the ace and then working in maybe like another good top end. And then also looking at like the rookies. The rookies aren't too bad in this deck, to be fair. But as I said, we do need to get the promos in as quick as possible. So hopefully there's no delays with the PB17, I think it is for us. And that's the only thing I can think of. But no, I'm going to get it swiftly. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And we'll see you guys soon, because I really do like the idea of this deck. And hopefully we'll get access to the Shakumon Idol of Doom deck that should be here in the next couple of days. So, yeah, peace out and goodbye. Mwah! Ciao for now.